Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm so glad to see so many people still here because I know this is almost the end of the conference, but it's one of the best parts, so you guys were pretty smart to stick around. I'm Connie Gallippi. I'm the founder of BitGive, and how many of you have already been to a Latin American Bitcoin conference before? Okay, not as many as I thought. Okay, so as you know, now that we're winding this down, is one of the best conferences ever. I always say that. This group is amazing. Thank you guys so much for always putting on, hands down, the best conferences. Yeah. Amazing, amazing people. And I've actually had the honor of presenting at all 4 of these conferences, so really happy to be here again and back in Buenos Aires. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about BitGive. If you have been to these conferences before, you've heard my presentations in the past, and we have been around for over 3 years now and made some progress each year, so I always have something new to share. And this year, I'm really excited to share a project we've been working on for over a year for donation tracking. But I do want to just give you a history, for those of you who aren't too familiar with BitGive, of some of the work we've done in the past before we get to that. So this picture is an example of one of our projects, probably our largest campaign in Kenya, and it's at a girls' school. They did not have any clean water, and we were in a very remote location. So we worked with a nonprofit called the Water Project to raise the funds for this project. And what's really interesting is in Kenya, even though it's a developing country and this was in a very remote area, they also still have some of the most advanced technologies like mobile money on feature phones. So they have some interesting progress in that area, but at the same time they have schools in areas where there's no clean water, which is a very interesting dichotomy, I guess. And so one of the biggest challenges is raising funds and then actually getting the funds to these really remote areas in places like this in the world. So BitGive is focusing on empowering nonprofits with Bitcoin and blockchain technology so they can reach farther, they can do more, we can reach them in these more remote places, and we can have more impact with this technology. Hope it's not moving. Am I supposed to point this somewhere? Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. Huh. Oh, bummer. It's funny because I was just getting ready to show you guys just a very short piece of a video that we've done, and every time I go to present this video, something happens. Every time. Let's see if it comes back up. Well, I'll take this opportunity to tell you that at the very end of the conference, so there's one more session after me, we'll be doing an auction for BitGive. So there's a piece of art that's been donated to auction off, and I would invite you all to stay for that after the next session. And hopefully I can inspire you with our work if we can get the slides going. Okay, great. Let's see. Aha. Okay, there we go. So I might need your help in the back there to start this video. If you just scroll over the image. I just want to show the first few seconds of this, if we can, to show you just some of the really great footage that we got there. Can you guys help me back there? No? Okay, well, we'll skip that part. This is actually a really great video. If you haven't seen it, I'd love for you guys to go check it out on our YouTube channel.
In 2013, we started to dream about how the Bitcoin community could change the world. Kenya is years ahead of the rest of the world, using mobile transactions throughout their daily lives.
The advantage of using Bitcoin, BitPesa, and M-Pesa is that this is mobile money, so it's quite quick. The costs of transferring this money from the US is quite low, and BitGive will be a great platform for doing that in the future.
Last year, we partnered with the Water Project and brought clean, safe water to a girls' school in Kakamega, Kenya.
Okay, a little bit of technical challenges here. So this video goes on for about 3 minutes, and I invite you to watch the rest of it. I didn't want to take up a lot of this evening with it, but it's on our homepage and our YouTube channel, and it goes into this whole story about the girls at the school. So what we're working on is we're changing the face of philanthropy with this technology. We're very focused on how to leverage this new technology and the mobile economy and be able to reach more places like this in the world. So a lot of the things you've been hearing about blockchain and Bitcoin technology, to me, are very important ways for us to help improve how we're working around the world in the philanthropic realm. So we talked a little bit about the Kenya project. It's a very remote place, and there's oftentimes very difficult ways of accessing them with funds. So they have very real needs, like they don't have clean water at their schools, but we have a very hard time accessing them to get them funds. They're also very limited in their financial services from funding outside of Kenya. So they have this very sophisticated M-Pesa mobile cash system, but there's no way to get money from outside of Kenya into that system. But now there is with Bitcoin. There's also a lot of high fees and charges. There's multiple steps along the way, and each time there's a fee charged. Sometimes for something like Western Union, it can be up to 13%. Then they're charged with bank fees on either end, and it really adds up quite a bit. There's also a lot of issues around fraud and security, especially when you're trying to get funds, usually in cash, to these really remote places that don't have financial services. So things like settlement, access, security, reduced fees, all of those things are extremely beneficial and really great improvements to working in philanthropy with this technology. So I mentioned we've been around, I think I mentioned we've been around for over 3 years. We were founded in 2013, which in Bitcoin is actually very early. And so we've had the pleasure of a lot of support from this community. Many of the folks in this room are very strong supporters and donors. And we've been able to do quite a few projects around the world, all different sizes and different places and different types of projects. So it's been very rewarding, and we've leveraged this technology on all these projects. So it's really exciting. We were also the first government-recognized nonprofit in the US, so we received a tax-exempt designation from our federal tax agency, which is a very big deal. So when we received that, there was a lot of excitement around that, and since then with our work, we've received actually quite a bit of coverage in a lot of the mainstream press, even internationally. So I talked a little bit about the school project. This is just one of the best examples of our work. So this water project brought clean, safe water to over 500 people in this very remote area. It was built at the Shisengo Girls' School, but it's serving the surrounding community. And we can talk about the benefits of clean water for a long time, but really what it was about was unlocking their potential, these young girls. I was lucky enough to go there and meet them. Very inspiring, very passionate, very smart, very energetic young girls. And most of their time was spent collecting water, cleaning water, being sick from dirty water. The simplest things that we take for granted. And that kept them out of the classroom. It was holding them back in many, many ways. So this project is really powerful. I still get messages from the school principal every once in a while. She texts me from Kenya and tells me how the girls are doing. Another one of our larger projects was with Medic Mobile, and we supported their work in Nepal. They do healthcare in very remote villages and using mobile technology to do so. So we supported their work in Nepal after the earthquakes last year, and we're continuing to work with them as well as the water project to support their work. They're very tech savvy, as is the water project, so it's been a pleasure to work with them. So this is what I really wanted to talk to you guys about today. This is our newest focus. We've put a lot of energy and investment into building a platform on the blockchain for donations so that people can actually see how their money is being spent by a nonprofit and they can see the results from that contribution. There's a lot of work being done around the world. Much of it is very good work. But there's also a lot of questions sometimes about for example, like in the Haiti earthquake several years ago, a lot of money got lost. No one knows where it went. There's no results. It's very unfortunate. So what we want to do is provide the transparency aspects that blockchain and Bitcoin offer to the nonprofit sector to offer this accountability, but also to help educate people about what it really takes to do good work and to support the groups that are actually doing really good work and that sometimes get held back by the questions or the mishaps of other organizations that may not be handling things as well. So the basic concept here is that we'll be tracking donations in real time, which is really cool. And the ultimate goal here is that we'll be able to drive more impact by doing that, feeling that, you know, empowering donors, that they have this kind of information would make them feel more inclined to give and would drive further impact and would get more funds. And then having a lot of different organizations using this platform, we would eventually be able to have a lot of really interesting collective data around where money is going, what the impacts are on a collective scale, and doing some really interesting visualization in real time about the kinds of impacts that are happening around the world in the philanthropic sector. And of course, it's implicit really when you use Bitcoin that the transactions will be happening faster, they'll be cheaper, and more secure. So this is just kind of an example of the tracking experience that the donor might have. As you go through the process, you would receive emails and updates on the platform when your contribution is received by the nonprofit, when a project has reached its funding goal, when money has reached somewhere like Kenya, we would actually see that on here. And project updates throughout the process, when the project gets started, how is it going, when it's been completed. So the main features are wanting to make this extremely easy to use for any mainstream donor, tracking the funds, actually sharing the breakdown of costs of projects so that not only will you see how it's being spent during the process, but you would see that up front and you would understand what's the budget and where are the funds going to go. Like I mentioned, confirmation of project results. All of this would be on the blockchain, so it's an unalterable, tamper-proof public ledger. We're making it more accessible and easy for people to see that information. And ultimately, down the road, wanting to find ways to use this to identify compromised parties, compromised pathways, stop using those, of course, obviously, and becoming more efficient and effective as a sector when you're able to actually see in real time how things are working, where are funds going, what's happening with them, and then on a cumulative basis as well, being able to do data visualization, like I mentioned, watching funds move across the world, seeing the impacts of those funds. And so you'll be able to have that level of transparency and accountability at the project level, but also at the nonprofit level where they start putting all their projects on this platform, and then on a global scale when you have multiple nonprofits using the platform. So we are right now just wrapping up our MVP. So it's a very basic version of the long-term vision here. And we will have funds tracked all the way to the end use in the MVP, international transfer of funds on the blockchain. We have 2 use cases with the Water Project and Medic Mobile in 2 parts of the world, both in Kenya and in Indonesia. And we also have 2 different kinds, of course, since they're in such different parts of the world, ways to convert the funds once they reach the location, and then the project result reporting. So this is the first time we have shown anyone what we've been working on for the past year. Rodolfo and Sebastian and others who were here last year helped us raise the funds to begin this project. So I'm very excited to share it for the first time with this group, and appreciate so much the support of this group for us to have gotten this far already on this project. So this is basically what the homepage looks like. It's kind of like a typical crowdfunding site where you would see a number of different projects. They might be all on, we might white label it, they might be all for one particular nonprofit, or there might be all kinds of different projects from different groups. And as a donor, you can search based on, do you want to help somebody work on a water project? Are you interested in education? Are you interested in healthcare? And you can search by different things. Then each project would have more detailed information, so you could decide if you wanted to support it. And you would go through the donation process. And then you would see a confirmation of your donation, and you would get, as I mentioned, these updates on the project as it moves forward. And you'd be able to actually track your donation as it goes through the whole process of funding a project and the different components of a project. So we want, as we build this out, we're raising funds to build out this project. It's just an MVP right now, which we're still very excited about, but we have a long way to go. And we really want to work on expanding the business practices that nonprofits can use this for, where it's applicable around the world, different kinds of ways to convert the funds depending on where in the world different groups are working. The results-driven reporting, where we want to start driving more impact by providing this kind of transparency and accountability. And having really fun, interactive ways to look at the data collectively through social media and likewise, and global mapping features and analysis. So this is our timeline for now. We are going to be releasing the beta of the MVP probably next week. Then we'll be fundraising and working to build out this full product next year, and it may take a little longer than that. And then in 2018, looking at really getting a lot of nonprofits using this and driving the impact that we want to see. So this is another unique and special thing we're doing just for you guys. Because we're ready to do our private beta next week, we have a very special, unique link just for the folks here today, and I guess probably for the folks watching online too, that you can come to this link on our homepage. It's a private link, so you have to go directly to this link, and you can sign up for our private beta for laBITconf, and then you'll get a notification from us probably next week with some login information, and you can help us test it. We need some help testing it out. So this is our team. I'm the founder, and I work on this full time. Very lucky to do that. And I have a really amazing board as my team. We also have some really amazing advisors, and Pamela Morgan is actually one of our advisors who's spoken at this event and is here. So I have a really strong team behind me, but I am pretty much the only person on this every day working day to day. But we have lawyers, we have VCs, we have compliance folks, we have a lot of skills and talent on our team. So that's pretty much it. We see ourselves as the future of philanthropy and revolutionizing philanthropy using this technology. So thank you. This is our QR code if you want to support us.